Hello, it's me, Antoinette, your presenter for today. I hope that you're doing good, you're safe, and you're healthy. Let's be happy and stay positive. Today, I'll be discussing emerging educational philosophy. But please bear with me if you can hear any unnecessary noise like the tiktilaok of the manok. Okay, so to start with, what is my educational philosophy as a teacher? I do believe that students are capable of learning. They do not learn at the same rate, but with different methods and strategies, it is possible. Students should not be taught as a mindless individuals just waiting to be filled with knowledge by their teachers. So that is my educational philosophy. So how are your classmates? What are your teaching philosophy? Try to think about it. Okay. The basic philosophy or the philosophy of basic. So the word philosophy is derived from the two Greek words philo, which means love, and sophi means wisdom. Literally means love of wisdom according to Power 1982. It is also referred to either the academic field of applied philosophy or the one of the any educational philosophies that promote specific principles of education, which means that each individual has an attitude towards life, children, politics, learning, and previous personal experiences that informs and shape their set of belief. Although you may not be conscious about it, this set of belief or our personal philosophy informs how we live, work, and interact with others. What you believe is directly reflected in both your teaching and learning process. Philosophies. So, these five educational philosophies are divided into so we have traditional education. Under the traditional education, we have essentialism and perennialism. Traditional education is referred to specific curriculum, whether it would be writing, reading, arithmetic, basic of math, science, English, and history. Essentialism and perennialism is tend to consider traditional because the curriculum is predetermined and it is teacher centered. Okay, so later on I'll be showing or you are going to watch a short video clip regarding about these five educational philosophies. So I'll just go brief about this. So to start with, we have Arthur Bestor, who is an essentialist. He defined essentialism as a teacher-centered, predetermined curriculum, essential disciplines. We have standardization. Philosophy must be presented in school. Mortimer Adler, who is a perennialist, he defined perennialism as a discussion about great work, eternal truth, popular in religious schools, and study works that have stood the test of time. Okay, the next is we have the progressive education. Under the progressive education, we have the progressivism, social reconstructivism, and existentialism. Progressive education, it focuses on the student interest and should be included or even guide the curriculum of study. Progressivism, social reconstructivism, and essentialism are considered progressive education because students are involved in determining the curriculum and then they are actively engaged in experiences. So we have John Dewey, who is a progressivist. He defined progressivism as a democratic classroom, student interest and social issues, learning by doing. We have the collaboration and teacher as a facilitator. George Counts, a social reconstructivist, defined social reconstructivism as student interest and social issues, challenge social inequalities, student as an agent, challenge racism and sexism and etc., reconstruct better society. Next, we have A.S. Neal, who is an existentialist. He defined existentialism as a student-centered. We have student of choice, student as an agent, change of agent, student racism, sexism, and etc., and reconstruct better society. So now let us watch
Hey
this
there. I
video
don't bump into too
regarding
many
the
people
five
walking around old classrooms
educational
like this.
philosophy.
But
An
you know,
overview of
being
the
here
five
really makes me think
educational
about what is the
philosophy.
purpose of school and why do we make kids go every day? You know, what should the curriculum be and what should the role of teachers and students be in the classroom? I think these are important questions, but sometimes we don't think about them because we just assume schools should be the way they were for us. So today, I'm going to conjure up some old educational philosophers from the dead to help you rethink the purpose of schools. But sometimes we don't think about them because we just assume schools should be the way they were for us. So today, I'm going to conjure up some old educational philosophers from the dead to help you rethink. Oh, hey there again. So debates about what education should be have often been framed in terms of traditional and progressive education. Advocates for traditional educational models generally hold that there is a specific curriculum, whether that be reading, writing, and arithmetic, the basics of math, science, English, and history, or the great works of history, that students must learn to function in society. Therefore, it is the work of the teacher to deposit such knowledge into the heads of students. In such a setting, students should be obedient and classrooms orderly. It is ironic that this approach to education is considered traditional because, as Frank Smith argues, traditional methods are a rather recent invention in human history. On the other hand, advocates for progressive educational models tend to argue that students' interests and voices should be included or even guide the curriculum of study. Units of study might start with students' questions, which can then become the motivation for projects within and outside of the classroom or school. Such an approach often integrates different types and subjects of learning, as students, for example, conduct an environmental study of their school which emphasizes math and science skills, and then utilize English and civic skills to lobby the city or district for more recycle bins, a school garden, or better sidewalks. Students learn not only content through these participatory experiences, but also how to learn to problem solve and engage in democracy. In practice, though, reality is much more complex than these two models, and educational experiences can fit somewhere on a spectrum as being more traditional or more progressive. In the rest of this video, we're going to introduce you to 5 educational philosophies. 2 philosophies, essentialism and perennialism, tend to be considered traditional because curriculum is predetermined and primarily teacher-centered. 3 philosophies, progressivism, social reconstructionism, and existentialism, are considered progressive because students are involved in determining curriculum and actively engaged in experiences. So now, without further ado, let's bring back some of those educational philosophers from the grave to explain what their philosophies look like. So now, without further ado, let's bring back some of those educational philosophers from the grave to explain what their philosophies look like. Hello, my name is Arthur Bester, an academic historian, and I will be your teacher for this school year. We will learn the essential curriculum that you will need to prepare you to be a contributing member of society. In this class, we will get back to the basics through the educational philosophy of essentialism, made popular by esteemed individuals like myself, William Bagley, and Admiral Hyman G. Rickover. I possess all of the knowledge you will need for this course, and so you will learn by sitting in a proper classroom receiving your instruction through my lecture and the selected textbook. Lectures, recitations, and discussion will also be used to further your education. The curriculum is predetermined and will be based on the essential disciplines like math, literature, natural science, foreign language, and history. Expectations are that you will use intellectual discipline to learn about the ideas, people, institutions, and events that have shaped American society. At the end of each section, you will be tested using standardized tests as we are all learning the same material. You will be expected to master your grade level in areas of information and skill before being allowed to progress to the next grade level. As the moral and intellectual role model for our class, it is my responsibility to make sure that you leave school with the basic knowledge and skills you need. The goal is for all students to be disciplined, practical, and capable of applying information from lessons to the world. Each student will learn a respect for authority, fidelity to duty, perseverance, practicality, and consideration for others. These attributes will make you better learners as well as better citizens. Each student will learn a respect for authority, fidelity to duty, perseverance, practicality, and consideration for others. These attributes will make you better learners.
Good morning, class. My name is Mortimer Adler. I am a well-known perennialist, and I will be a teacher this year. Before we get started, you need to understand that I expect you to behave. I possess a great wealth of knowledge and information, and if you're observant and studious, I will impart my wisdom to you. I will conduct my classroom with precision, and we will adhere to a rigid schedule. But as you can see behind me, you can see that I also expect participation in discussions about the great books of the Western world. Throughout the school year, you will master our subject matter, which will reveal eternal truths that have stood the test of time. Eternal truths may stem from our faith, or they are facts that have stood the test of time. I will train your intellect, and utilizing the scientific method, we will verify universal truths. For those of you in Catholic or private religious schools, you will gain truth from religious texts to better know God's truths. You will not have to search the reaches of history for long ago proofs of knowledge. You can rely entirely on your faith to know what is true and cannot be wrong. I will instruct you through didactic lectures, assigned readings, and Socratic teaching, as these are the best ways to learn. We will work through as many of the great books as we can this year. The great books may not have been written this century, but they will hold relevance in today's world. Every time you read one of these great books, you will be rewarded by the experience. The great books are the best literature to learn from because they have withstood the test of time. I hope you enjoy our class. Every time you read one of these great books, you will be rewarded by the experience. The great books are the best literature to learn from because they have withstood the test of time.
Welcome everyone to Dr. Dewey's classroom. My philosophy for education encourages a democratic environment. What does it mean to create a democratic environment? That means authority is out the door. I will help you construct knowledge about topics that concern students and society. Students are often encouraged to help determine curriculum and learn by doing. Learning by doing, or I like to say, learning by doing. What does that mean for students? Students must have the opportunity to learn in a community by engaging in authentic and meaningful learning projects. Let's take a moment to appreciate the collaboration in this classroom. An ideal learning environment would be a setting where interaction and collaboration are encouraged. What are the steps to academic success? We must set a foundation for our classroom. As a class, we must set boundaries that are agreeable to everyone, not just a teacher. This includes all students in the classroom. I will only be the facilitator, while you, the student, will learn from your participation in class projects and group work. I will ask questions about your world and organize our curriculum around your questions. Come on, guys, we're going to take a break from traditional structure of education. Speak up and help shape your world. Come on, guys, we're going to take a break from traditional structure of education. Speak up and help shape your world.
It's great to see students protesting for social justice. Welcome, students. My name is George S. Counts. I wanted school to be reformed in the early 20th century. This year in my class, we will be taking things into our own hands and creating the classroom we want this to be. First, we should question the institution of education. Is there a hidden curriculum designed by an oppressive power group in our country? The way you answer this in questions like this will determine the curriculum of our class. Your solutions to social inequalities will become the cornerstone of the education in my classroom. Do not settle for the status quo in our school. I want to take your concerns and issues you have with our school to create a better school. Do not keep the status quo. We will be making equality in all roles in our classroom. We will model the way to become change agents in society so you can leave this classroom and go out into the world to create a stronger democratic society. We will be looking at things such as textbooks, websites, television, and other aspects seen in society every day. We will look at these and critique every aspect of them and figure out what methods may be in place to keep minority groups from succeeding. We will take this and figure out what we want to change about it. What makes these things unequal? We will help one another out to become the change agents we want to become. More than anything, I want you to help me reconstruct a better society. We will be having assessments, but we won't have tests. We will instead be a democracy and give feedback to each other. I want this school year to be meaningful, and I want you to challenge each other and build our classroom community in a way that fosters a lifelong desire to make the world we live in a better place. I want this school year to be meaningful, and I want you to challenge each other and build our classroom community in a way that fosters a lifelong desire to make the world we live in.
It's great to see an individual pursue their love of learning. Hi, my name is A.S. Neal. I founded the Summerhill School of England that would become the first alternative or free school. Summerhill is an example of my philosophy and has been in existence since 1921. My education system has been used and replicated in many schools throughout the world, from Argentina to the United States. There's even one in Austin, Texas called Whole Life Learning Center. For an more in-depth look at my beliefs, look for my book entitled Summerhill. As an existentialist, I believe in building and supporting the individual to pursue that which inspires them. My education system is really up to the student. I question whether a teacher should have the authority to determine the curriculum and simply require the student's obedience. The student is the one who learns, who does the intellectual work. Why should the students put their time and energy into a system they don't believe in? No, in my teaching philosophy, we respect the student by letting them choose. Don't want to go to class? Don't go. Don't want to do the reading? Don't read. This is all because I know the truth. All students are naturally curious. They will learn naturally as they explore the world as it appeals to them as individuals. They will attend class and seek out the teachers to learn, grow, and build themselves. As students learn in this way, they create a tailored education that suits their personal needs better than any institutionally created curriculum can. If the student's interest will guide the learning, not the teacher. By the students taking control of their learning, they will grow in themselves. The students will learn about their interests, their strengths, and weaknesses. This is existentialism educational philosophy.
By the students taking control of their learning, they will grow in themselves. The students will learn about their interests, their strengths, and weaknesses. This is existentialism educational philosophy.
Okay, that's it. That's the overview of the 5 philosophies of education that is divided into traditional and progressive education. Now, let us proceed. What is philosophy of tertiary education? So, a teacher is a friend, philosopher, guide, but individual differences also exist among all teachers. Apart from all the theorists, in a very simple way, what, why, and how to teach in higher education is defined in your opinion. I hope you can answer my question later on after the presentation. Okay, so integrated system of education. The integrated system of education, the trifocalization is divided into 3. So we have the Kagawaran ng Edukasyon, or the Department of Education. We have the CHED, the Commission on Higher Education, and the TESDA, Technical Education and Skills Development. So this is the trifocalization in the Philippine setting. So first we have the Department of Education. So the present day Department of Education was eventually mandated through Republic Act through the Republic Act 1955, otherwise known as the Governance of the Basic Education Act of 2001, which establishes the mandate of this agency. The Department of Education is abbreviated as DepEd. In Filipino, Kagawaran ng Edukasyon in the Executive Department of the Philippine Government, responsible for ensuring access to, promoting equity in, and providing the quality of basic education. So the Department of Education, or the DepEd, formulates, implements, and coordinates policies, plans, program, and projects in the areas of formal and non-formal education. So, education in the Philippines is offered through formal and non-formal education system. So, for formal education, typically spans for 14 years and is structured in a 6+4+4 system. 6 years in primary school education, 4 years of secondary school education, and 4 years of higher education leading to a bachelor's degree. So the Department of Education is mostly dedicated to basic education. The basic education in the Philippines, which includes the kindergarten, elementary, to high school. But now, since the basic education in the Philippines is in transition, it will be from kinder to senior high school, hence to K-12 transition period. DepEd is also responsible for ensuring the access to, promoting and equity, and providing quality of basic education. So overall, DepEd supervises all elementary and secondary education institutions which include alternative learning system, or the ALS, both public and private, and provides for establishment and maintenance of the complete, adequate, and integrated system of basic education relevant to the goals of the national development. We have the Commission on Higher Education, or the CHED. So the CHED, or the Commission on Higher Education, the Commission on Higher Education was established by the virtue of Republic Act 7722, or otherwise known as the Higher Education of Act of 1994, which was signed into law on May 18, 1994. So the CHED, the pursuant to Republic Act 7222, the CHED is mandated to promote a quality education, broaden access to higher education, protect academic freedom and continuing intellectual growth, and ensure advancement of learning and researches. So, CHED regulates or supervise higher education institution, states, universities, and even colleges. Hence, it is most likely related to higher education, as the name implies, or tertiary education, and that is from college to graduate school. So, CHED also covers both public and private higher educational institution, as well as the degree granting programs in all post-secondary educational institution. So, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, it was created through the Republic Act number 7796, or the TESDA Act of 1994, to encourage the industry, trade, labor, and local government units to participate in developing programs for the country's skilled workers. TESDA also offered courses are disseminated in different fields of specialization. There are programs that help a student to land a job into a call center industry. So, TESDA is a one way of improving yourself, is through learning and acquiring new set of skills. Nowadays, it is easy to learn new skills because there are various online and face-to-face classes available to enroll in TESDA. So, it is important to invest yourself through self-improvement. TESDA is focusing on the skills. You're gaining skills from finishing a TESDA course that will help you to be a better in your chosen field, or may potentially earn more money. What to make a living without baking, programming, or dressing. TESDA has covered you. So, if you want to enroll in TESDA, so the requirement is you must be 18 years of age, a high school graduate, undergone a pre-training assessment, you have your barangay clearance. That's it. And now you can enroll in TESDA. TESDA also offered NC2, NC3, which is a requirement if you want to go abroad. It's easy for you to find a job. So TESDA is very big help for those who cannot afford to go to college. TESDA is waiting for you. We have the ALS, the Alternative Learning System. So, ALS is also known as the Republic Act 9155. The Governance Act for the Basic Education, otherwise known as the Republic Act 1955, stipulates the establishment of the Alternative Learning System to provide out-of-school youth and adults population with a basic education. So, many Filipinos do not have the chance to attend or finish formal basic education, like from grade 1 to grade 6, first year high school to fourth year, due to many reasons. So, some drop out from the school while some do not have school in their communities. Since every Filipinos have the right to free basic education, the government establishes this ALS, or the Alternative Learning System, to provide all the Filipino the chance to have the access to and complete basic education in a mode that fits their distinct situation and needs. So, why there's a need for alternative learning system in the Philippines? What do you think? So, there's a need for alternative learning system in the Philippines because, as what I have said a while ago, many Filipinos then don't have the chance to finish the formal education. That's why our government established this ALS to provide the chance to have or to complete or to have the access to complete the basic education. This is open for all. How does ALS work, or how does the alternative learning system work? So, there are two major programs on ALS that are being implemented by the Department of Education. Through the Bureau of Alternative Learning System, or BALS, one of the basic literacy program and the other is the continuing education program. So, both programs are modular and flexible. So, this means that learning can take place anytime, anywhere, depending on the convenience and the availability of the learners. What is the difference between the formal education system and the alternative learning education, or the ALS, or the non-formal education? Formal education system is classroom-based, managed by trained from formal school teachers. ALS is non-formal education, happens outside the classroom or community-based, usually conducted at the community learning centers, our barangay multipurpose hall, the libraries, or even at home, managed by ALS facilitators such as mobile teachers, district ALS coordinators, the instructional managers that agreed schedule and venue between the learners and the facilitator. So that is the alternative learning system. Okay, now, what is the philosophy of technical vocational education, or the TechVoc? Technical education, or TechVoc courses, are part of the non-formal education in the Philippines. Under the Republic Act 7796, the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, is mandated to provide technical education and skill development programs for all the Filipinos learners. The TechVoc programs allow the out-of-school youth and other interested students to learn the practical skills that will prepare them for the employment. So, TechVoc programs are open to all individuals, even without college degrees. though there are documents enrollees may be required to submit such as picture, birth certificate, high school diploma, or AL certificate. Techbook primarily involves theoretical and practical training in the acquisition of the relevant skills for various occupations across different economic sectors. The short courses usually range from 2 months to 1 year programs which the technical vocational offered. So, studying Techbook courses serves many purposes. So, it will provide students with extensive hands-on training required in actual industries and other practical assessment. So, the curriculum is composed of competency standard that required for effective work performance prescribed by the industry expert. Taking short vocational courses in Techbook also help in expanding opportunities and gaining new skills for those who want to level up their careers or ventures to new business. So if you want to have that successful careers, or if you want to expand or gain new skills, okay, try the technical vocational courses. Okay, let's proceed. What do you mean by education for all? Education for all. What comes into your mind when you hear the word education for all? So, in the Philippine EFA, in 2015, plan is a vision and a holistic program to reforms of the country to achieve an improved quality of basic education for every Filipino by 2015. EFA, or Education for All, is an existing government movement to provide quality basic education for all children, youth, and adults. Education for All is a school policy that gives school a clear definition of inclusive education and what the legal obligation are for supporting students with disabilities. So, Education for All is a policy that gives school a clear definition of inclusive education. Once we are going to talk about inclusive education, it means that all members of every school community are being valued and supported to fully participate, develop, learn, and succeed within an inclusive school culture. EFA, or Education for All, acknowledges that some children and youth or young people have the intersecting identities or additional needs that the school may need to take into consideration. So, like for example, identities may relate to having disability or additional learning needs, gender identity, the race, the cultural identity, a speaking language, social factors, economic factors, and even experiences of abuse, neglected, or family violence. The Education for All policy is part of the exclusive education agenda focused on improving outcome for students, especially with disability. Research. So, the department's emphasis in research focuses on social and human sciences based business administration, which is necessary to avoid partial cuts in general and to guarantee an adequate development of the topics of interest for the Department of Management. So, emphasis on research, this focus does not only include to classical business administration and economic perspectives, but also includes different epistemological, theoretical, and methodological approaches. Like for example, through sociology and psychology, many planned and finished research projects at our department, as well as current and future cooperation partners reflect this orientation. A multiple perspective with focus on human organization and society is essential to integrate the context of different aspects for controllability, control, and intervention. These perspective do not only appear in a range of finished research project but also in a future research enterprises. The interlinking of human and organization constituting a huge trend in management as of the moment. It is already the highlighted through the current focuses on the incentive system, career and competence management, knowledge management, commitment, our organizational culture, the e-learning, and the gender and diversity measure. That's all. Thank you. As I end, so learning knows no bound. Do you have any questions? If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. That's all. Thank you for listening. God bless.